At our first gathering, we'd like to begin this time and every time by acknowledging that the land threatened by these pipelines was stolen once before from the indigenous peoples of those areas. It's an indigenous land that we stand on here today, and it's indigenous peoples that started and lead the pipelines resistance movement. As we stand here today, Governor Ralph Northam continues to refuse to act on the devastation happening and that will happen as a result of the Atlantic Coast and Mountain Valley pipelines. He has not publicly acknowledged the racism and social injustice involved and the fact that a complaint has been filed against his Department of Environmental Quality for racial discrimination. He has not acknowledged the fact that violations have already occurred during pipeline pre-construction and construction activities. When he rarely does issue a statement, which always invokes science and high environmental standards, he conveniently omits the fact that the science already proves that the pipelines will be a catastrophe and that his DEQ has egregiously failed in upholding environmental standards. The DEQ continues to force forward the pipelines at the behest of EQT and Dominion, ignoring the company's violations and water quality failures and obstructing the State Water Control Board's ability to respond to these failures. We call for Governor Northam to take the blindfold off that Dominion and EQT paid for and publicly demand to stop work on the pipelines now. We call for the DEQ to stop work on the pipelines now, and we call for the State Water Control Board to call a meeting immediately and revoke the pipeline permits. And I thought at this time I would pass the mic around and let anybody who wants to give some individual thoughts go for it.
So I was at a meeting, I think it was the day before yesterday, related to the Virginia Energy Plan. And this is a plan that's developed every 4 years. It'll be due out in October. It's the governor's responsibility to prepare this plan. There's 3 listening sessions coming up in July and August. I'll get the information out, but this will be a great opportunity for us to talk about energy, clean energy, and why pipelines are not a part of the mix. It's not really on the governor's agenda for his energy plan, but we can put it on the agenda. So I share that information, and there'll be opportunities to get out at some of these public meetings and make it clear that the pipelines are not part of Virginia's energy plan.
Brilliant. Sign me up. I just want to reiterate that these pipelines are not needed for our electrical grid, and we need to stop these before our mountains are destroyed, our ridge tops are removed, and our water is forever tainted.
Well, I'd like to also repeat, please, Governor, listen to the science. Listen to the engineers who say that this pipeline is dangerous and it is not doable. Please listen to the scientists that are telling us this cannot be put in. We cannot just continue to do this just because of the money. It's all about the money. Make it about the science, please.
Hi everybody, my name is Marilyn Karp and I am a street fighter from the Bronx. Governor Northam, these pipelines are incredibly dangerous. They explode, they will kill people. They are building compressor stations 50 or 70 feet from people's homes in Union Hill. These compressor stations leak poisonous gas. If they explode, all of those people will die. Governor Northam, it is your job to protect the citizens of this Commonwealth. You are a doctor. You, of all people, should not allow something so dangerous as these pipelines to go forward. And of course, everybody knows we don't need them. Let us not put money over people's lives. Do your job, Governor Northam. Protect Virginia. This is going to affect our environment everywhere in Virginia for the future generations. Everybody has got to come and get out on the streets and say we want to protect our environment. We need clean air and clean water. Do this for your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, your friends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Suzanne, did you speak?
We're here today to bring the facts about these pipelines. First, we know they're not needed. Second, we know that this gas is going to be exported. Third, there is a recent article in Science magazine that documents yet again how devastating methane is in producing climate change. These are the facts. When you cross over 1,000 bodies of water, some streams that are pristine, beautiful, bubbling streams that we'd all want to dip our feet into 60 or 70 times, backfill with concrete, you are destroying those streams. We want a stream-by-stream analysis now. We want the State Water Control Board to do its job with all of the evidence coming in that's been heard in the Fourth Circuit, that's been heard in other courts. It's time for you to take the lifeboat. We keep sending you these lifelines, Governor. You're acting like the alcoholic who is just never going to take the hand that's been handed out to him. You're acting like a guy addicted to pipelines.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, that's brilliant. That's a poster.
All right, so now I'll read the letter that we're delivering today. And again, it highlights the facts that Governor Northam is willfully ignoring. We are writing you today to recap the facts about the Atlantic Coast and Mountain Valley pipelines. Facts you are choosing to ignore because they are inconvenient to the pipeline companies, Dominion and EQT, who have bought your allegiance. We know that you are aware of all of the information below, but your inaction begs for a reminder. The Atlantic Coast and Mountain Valley pipelines are not necessary. Analyses have found that the energy demands reported by the pipeline companies are inflated, and existing pipelines can meet future energy demands. The gas will be exported and not serve Virginians. The ACP and MVP will not boost Virginia's economy or provide a large number of jobs. According to an analysis commissioned by Dominion itself, only 39 permanent jobs will be directly created by the ACP in Virginia. A study found the economic cost of the ACP would be a one-time loss of $72 to $141 million during construction, and annual losses would range from $55 to $68 million for Augusta, Highland, Nelson, and Buckingham counties alone. For the MVP, a study found the economic costs to be in the range of $65 to $136 million one time, and an annual loss ranging from $119 to $131 million in economic costs to the communities local to the MVP. The ACP and MVP are prime examples of environmental racism and injustice. Along both pipeline routes, communities of color, indigenous communities, and low-income communities will suffer disproportionately. Just last week, a Title VI complaint was submitted to the Environmental Protection Agency against your Department of Environmental Quality for racial discrimination in permitting the ACP. The pipelines are not being held to high environmental standards, as you claim to require, and even if they were, it is not possible to build projects of this magnitude without permanent harm to our environment. The DEQ has failed to address constant erosion control failures already happening for the MVP, and they approved incomplete and inadequate plans for the pipeline. The DEQ recommended certification for both pipelines based on incomplete and inadequate water quality protection plans. All of the science and data that you claim to be listening to proves that these pipelines will be an economic, environmental, and public health disaster. The state has the authority under Section 401 of the Clean Water Act to stop these pipelines. Further, under the new state law that you signed into place, DEQ has the authority to stop work on the pipelines at any time. Your playing ignorant won't change the above facts or this fact. We know that you know these pipeline projects are criminal, and the future generations will know that as your legacy. So we'll be delivering that to him today, and after we get done, everybody can sign it if they want. And now we are going to...
So how do you
Yes.
deliver it? How do you deliver it?
We go into the office. They know we're here every Wednesday, so they're
We
waiting.
just go in the office and leave.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
These pipelines!
These pipelines
are not needed!
are not needed!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines!
These pipelines
will be for fracked gas export!
will be for fracked gas export!
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines will not bring
These pipelines will not bring
local or permanent jobs!
local or permanent jobs!
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines!
These pipelines
bring racism and injustice!
bring racism and injustice!
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines!
These pipelines
travel disproportionately
travel disproportionately
through communities of color,
through communities of color,
low income,
low income,
and indigenous communities.
and indigenous communities.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines
These pipelines
have not been held
have not been held
to high environmental standards.
to high environmental standards.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines
These pipelines
have already failed erosion control.
have already failed erosion control.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
The DEQ
The DEQ
cannot produce
cannot produce
any previous proof
any previous proof
to show a nationwide permit
to show a nationwide permit
is enough to protect our water.
is enough to protect our water.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines
These pipelines
have already racked up
have already racked up
more than 20 violations.
more than 20 violations.
Governor Northam!
Governor Northam!
Fact check!
Fact check!
These pipelines!
These pipelines!
Over 1,000 miles of sacred land!
Over 1,000 miles of sacred land